Young Eivor is a Viking from Norway. Her family and another clan were having a celebration when they got attacked by a rival clan, led by Kjotve the Cruel. Eivor watches as her parents were brutally murdered in front of her. Luckily, Sigurd, the king's son, grabs Eivor and they flee the massacre taking place. The horse they were riding missteps, losing its footing. They get separated before a wolf viciously sinks its teeth into Eivor, branding her as wolf-kissed. Then we fast forward to an older Eivor, having been captured by Kjotve when she went after him to avenge her father. She and her crew are able to escape after retrieving her father's axe one of Kjotve's men had. They returned home where Sigurd's wife, Randvi, mentioned that he will be returning from his voyage tomorrow. Eivor then visits a seer that tells her that she will betray her now adopted brother Sigurd. She dismisses those claims. The next day, Sigurd returns home and the siblings embrace. He had brought a couple of assassins, or then known as Hidden Ones, he had met on his voyage, Basim and Hytham. After a reunion party, her brother gifts Eivor a hidden blade, a unique killing mechanism used by the Brotherhood. The following day they get support from King Harald, a supposed ally of Sigurd's father. Together they concoct a plan to kill Kjotve and end their feud. When they get to him, Eivor duels Kjotve, but midway through he gets attacked by Hytham in a failed assassination attempt. As it turned out, they came to kill Kjotve as he had a hand in their feud elsewhere. Finally, Eivor gets the killing blow before meeting Odin in a dreamlike sequence in Niflheim. They overthrow Kjotve's region and Eivor chases away his son Gorm, who gets away. Then King Harald summons the Norway clans to discuss leadership, where he exiles Gorm. He wants to lead the whole of Norway and bring about a rule of peace between the clans. Sigurd's father agreed and caved, but neither Sigurd or Eivor wanted to be ruled over. So they, along with some other people, decided to set sail to England to build a better life for themselves, led by Sigurd as their Jarl. That's when Layla gets pulled out of the animus that's allowing her to visit Eivor's memories. She greets familiar faces Sean and Rebecca, which is when we learn Layla has been given a microchip to control her feelings because the staff of Hermes previously made her unable to control them and harm someone close to her. Before long, Layla re-enters the animus to them having arrived in England. On their arrival on the shores of England, they find a Saxon camp that they infiltrate. They free their prisoners, allowing them to stay with them. The clan begin building and developing their settlement. The name they give to their new home is Ravensthorpe, in honor of their Norway Raven clan. Basim then leaves the group on his own endeavor. Then so does Sigurd, in order to meet a group because they're potential allies for them. Sigurd wants to get more allies to strengthen their hold on England. Before Eivor joins him, she talks to Randvi. She tells Eivor to gain trust from the leader of the Summer Army, whose last known location was Granta's Bridge. Turns out they had been ambushed by the Saxons, so in an attempt to form an ally, Eivor looks for Soma, their leader, who had been separated when retreating from the Saxons. Eivor finds her and her 3 advisors and helps them launch an attack on the Saxons to reclaim their city. The Saxon leader, Wigmund, is a member of the Order of the Ancients, the precursors to the Templars. He escapes, and while it seems like a victory, during the celebrations, Soma looks uneasy. It turns out the Saxons infiltrated from the inside, using underground tunnels that only she and her 3 advisors know about, so she suspects a traitor. She asks Eivor for her opinion as a fresh pair of eyes. Eivor gets to know each of the advisors a bit more. From that, Eivor comes to the conclusion that Galinn betrayed Soma because he believes a different destiny to the rest of the clan. So she does what she believes she must and slits the throat of the rat before leading the charge to Wigmund. And after the battle, Eivor kills Wigmund with the hidden blade. As a thank you for her help, Sommer gives Eivor a trinket, a symbol of her trust. She also says she can have her army should she have need of it. Before Eivor parted, Berna, one of Sommer's advisors, agreed with Sommer that it would be best for her to join Eivor's Raven clan, since Berna was in love with Sommer, but her priority was understandably the people of Granta's Bridge. So she joined the crew. Then Eivor reported to Randvi of their relationship with Sommer. While she's back at the settlement, Hytham teaches Eivor a technique known as the Leap of Faith, which is used as a form of meditation to remove one's fear by the Hidden Ones or assassins. Then Eivor consults Randvi, who reminds her that Sigurd went to Repton to meet brothers Uber and Ivar, who are trying to exile King of Mercia to install a new king. There, Eivor meets the brothers and Ceolwulf, the man to overthrow the king. The reason for this is that the current king is refusing peace between Saxons and Danes. However, for his monarchy to be legitimate, the current king must be kept alive. They go to Tamworth Fortress and attack them to find King Burgred. However, the soon-to-be king's son and heir, Ceolbert, does not want to kill his former friends. Anyway, they discovered that the king fled and that a mercenary, Tonna, is playing both sides. So they go and find her to learn Burgred's location. Later in the day, Ivar and Eivor discuss their relationships with their respective brothers. He reveals to Eivor that as you get older, there will begin to be holes in your relationship, no matter how close you are. It turns out the location given by Tonna, Templeborough, actually holds Burgred's wife. Once they get a hold of her, they use her to find her husband by Ivar threatening her with savagery. After locating him, Eivor kidnaps the king and brings him to Ceolwulf so that he can be crowned. Once he's on the throne, Ceolwulf exiles the former king to Rome. That's when they get under attack by Burgred's forces, and with Ceolbert missing, Eivor goes looking for him. Eivor finds him with Burgred's right-hand man, who is very loyal to Burgred. After defeating Leofurth, she allows him to live, so he goes to Rome in hunt of Burgred, the man he once trusted with his life. Then Eivor returns Ceolbert, having made allies with the kingdom of Mercia and the brothers Uber and Ivar. Ceolwulf sends Ceolbert to Ravensthorpe until Mercia is a more stable place to live. However, when Eivor and Ceolbert return to the settlement, they get attacked. After leaving one alive to interrogate, he reveals that they were from East Anglia, so Eivor pledges there. When she arrives, Oswald, a Saxon, wants to be king, but for that, he needs a queen. However, his lover's family are Dane and are less than impressed by him, so he vows to Eivor, if she helps him right the situation, she'll have a strong alliance with East Anglia. So she continues to help out by teaching Oswald the basics of fighting, and together they rob their enemy raiders Ruid's men of Hacksilver to give as gifts to his future brother-in-laws. After Oswald presents the brothers with gifts, they find Ruid's scout near them. Eivor threatens him to get information from him. Then Oswald and Ruid have a meeting and decide to have a fight to the death for the future of East Anglia. Despite fighting well, Oswald gets overpowered by Ruid. However, just as he was gonna get thrown off the cliff, Oswald pulls him down too. Everyone then retreats, assuming that Oswald died in the fall. Valdis's brothers are proud of how Oswald fought, so they gather an army of both Saxons and Danes, just as Oswald wanted, so they can attack by ships. Once they arrive, they spot that both Oswald and Ruid survived the fall, and Oswald is a captive. In order to be victorious, Eivor overpowers Ruid, but keeps him alive, as Oswald wants him to be tried before God. Then they all witness Oswald and Valdis's wedding. However, at the ceremony, Rued escapes, challenging Oswald to another fight to the death, which this time Oswald wins. But he still gives mercy, banishing him from East Anglia forever. This time, when Eivor returns to Ravensthorpe, she visits the seer again. When Eivor takes the seer's concoction, she falls asleep and sees visions from Odin's perspective, with the likes of Thor and Loki also there. Before Eivor sets off on her next mission, she and Randvi share a trip to Grantis Bridge to blow off some steam. After a fun day, Randvi, Eivor's sister-in-law, makes a move on her. Eivor gently rejects her, and they return to home as friends. When they do, Eivor immediately travels to Oxenfordshire, where Sigurd currently is. Sigurd and Basim are getting an alliance with a man called Giedrich, a man about to be killed by Lady Edwin, who despises Danes. They free him, but Sigurd and Basim immediately ask Giedrich for the location of Fulke, a holy woman. It becomes apparent to Eivor that they had an ulterior motive for siding with Giedrich. They save Giedrich's people held prisoner, then find Fulke. Sigurd believes he has a bigger purpose and thinks Fulke will show him that. Together, they all overthrow Edwin and Giedrich exiles her. King Alfred, brutal king of Wessex, arrives, since they just attacked Edwin, his ally. To prove peace amongst them, Sigurd suggests exchanging their best warriors, but then Fulke storms in, revealing that she's actually with King Alfred, saying that Sigurd is what he needs, since he has a greater purpose. She believes him to be special. Although reluctant, Sigurd agrees. He goes with them, confident that he won't get killed, because of his bigger purpose and fate. Eivor tells Basim to follow them, so he does. Eivor returns home, finds out Fulke is with the Order of the Ancients, and tells Randvi of the terrible news. Then she sets off to London, which is filled with Order of the Ancients according to Hytham. Eivor meets Stoey, a Saxon, and Erke, the Dane. Eivor uses their help to track down the three Order of the Ancients in London. They go by the names Compass, Arrow, and Leech. Once the first two are taken down, the Compass lays siege on London. He burns home and kills civilians until Eivor inevitably assassinates him too. Erke and Stoey decide to rebuild London and agree to support Eivor should she call for them. Yet again, Eivor returns to her settlement, informing Randvi of the alliance formed in London and Hytham that London has been cleansed of the Order of the Ancients. Eivor has still more links to forge, so she goes to Sciropescire, where Ceolbert has ventured off to. They are at war with Rhodri, king of the Britons, so Ceolbert wants to negotiate a peace. When Eivor is there, she sees Ivar, too, is there to help broker a peace treaty. Ivar and Rhodri have a rocky history though. Rhodri is who gave Ivar his large face scar. So naturally, the negotiations go poorly as Ivar slits Rhodri's brother's throat and a fight ensues, which is when Rhodri retreats. The trio find and kill Rhodri's general and celebrate. Rhodri's wife called a meeting with Ceolbert to make a peace deal. However, Ceolbert wasn't there, so Eivor agreed the deal for him. Eivor kept Ivar away and Ankarad kept the king away so that all hell doesn't break loose. Once the deal was completed, Ceolbert was still nowhere to be seen, so Eivor went looking for him. But she finds him fatally wounded with a knife with the Briton crest in him. Eivor brings him back so he dies with the people he loves. Ivar immediately blames Rhodri for going against their agreement, so they attack him. Ivar wants to be the one to kill him, so they have a one-on-one once they get to him. Despite almost being burnt alive, Ivar is able to knock Rhodri out. They bring him to the top of a cliff and Ivar tortures and kills him in a very specific way known as Blood Eagle. First he slices the spine full length and then spreads his skin so it looks like he has wings. Eivor wants to leave now, but Ivar says he wants to fight her to the death. She refuses, so to fuel her anger, Ivar reveals that he in fact killed Kjellbert, someone he looked at as a son, just so he can have the opportunity to kill Rodri. In retaliation, Eivor kills Ivar and even still gives him his wish of dying with his weapon at hand as part of Viking tradition. Eivor then tells Ubba and Ceolwulf everything that transpired. Ubba and Eivor attend Ivar's funeral pyre, and now peace is possible, with a bishop now to be the leader. Eivor decides to visit Kent next. She locates Basim, who has tracked down Fulke, the member of the Order of the Ancients who has Sigurd. They confront her, and although Eivor wants to savagely kill her, Basim stops her because she still doesn't know Sigurd's whereabouts. Fulke says the gods speak through Sigurd and leaves, but as she does, Eivor overhears the location of her hideout as she orders an ambush on the duo. They escape the ambush and Eivor tells Basim of this information. When they go to this place, however, to Eivor's horror, she finds her brother's severed arm. But luckily, Basim found out that a fortress in Sussex may be where he is. Basim goes ahead to scout, while Eivor returns to the settlement, where she tells the people that she's working on getting their Jarl, their leader, back. But when she does, Dag, a loyal warrior, accuses Eivor of liking Sigurd being away too much. So he doesn't want to do as Eivor says anymore. They fight to the death. Eivor comes out on top and still allows him to die with his axe at hand. She herself buried the man and then heads off to Sussex to bring back their Jarl and save her brother. Eivor calls for help from all the allies she has made so far for an assault. However, in the process of disposing of Fulke's supplies and forces to make the assault easier, one of Valdis's brothers, Brothir, gets killed. However, once all that's done, they bring themselves to Fulke's walls to finish this. But once they get inside, Eivor notices Fulke has fled to the church. Inside the church they find Sigurd, with one less limb and countless injuries. Basim watches over him as Eivor finds the madwoman Fulke and assassinates her, while she says that Sigurd is a god reborn, and she did what she did to get him to realise that. Once the job is done, Soma and Ubba urge Eivor to return home to see her brother. So she does. But when she does, it's apparent Sigurd is no longer the same person. He blamed Eivor for taking too long to find him, enjoying the role of being in control too much, and for killing Dag, just for questioning her. He tells Eivor that he is a god and storms out. When Eivor finds him again, he's calmer and tells her that he's grateful that Fulke tortured him, because it helped him see the truth. The following morning, Eivor travels to Essex, since the Ealdorman has called for her. It turns out the Ealdorman and his wife has fallen out of love, and both want separate things from life. The Ealdorman wants to be with his childhood sweetheart, Alfida, whereas Eastrid wants to go back to France, where she's from. However, the issue remains that their king forbids divorces. Therefore, they want Eivor to stage a kidnapping of Eastrid. So they do that and get someone to sell Eastrid to France. Eivor then goes in search of Alfida, the Ealdorman's childhood sweetheart. She finds her clearly very poor, looking after her younger brother. When told of the Ealdorman's feelings, she said she had longed for this moment, and they immediately move in with him, with Eivor playing the role of Cupid this time. She has made yet another alliance with the Raven clan, growing in power in England. When she returns to Ravensthorpe, there is a dispute between two members of the clan. However, Sigurd gives a very harsh punishment, and despite Eivor feeling that this was a bad decision, she didn't go against her brother to show loyalty to him. After this occurred, Eivor went to Lincolnshire. There she meets Hunwald, the son of an Ealdorman of Lincolnshire. She brings him home after he was chased out by soldiers, but when they get there, they find out Hunwald's father was kidnapped after becoming quite ill. So when Eivor looks for him, she finds him dead and gets a trinket to show Hunwald as proof. When they hear of the news, 2 other people, along with Hunwald, put their name for the next Ealdorman, Alfgar and Bishop Herefrith. When Eivor attends the election, the council votes went to a tie between the 3 candidates. So they decide to give Eivor the final vote to crown the next Ealdorman. She chooses Alfgar because Hunwald is too young for this role. However, angry with the result of the election, Bishop Herefrith reveals that he's with the Order of the Ancients and got Hunwald's father kidnapped, and he ordered a massacre of the room. Eivor is able to dispose of these men and assassinate Herefrith. Following this, Alfgar assures Eivor that she has an ally in him. Since he has not been made Ealdorman, Hunwald decides to join Eivor's clan. Once they return, Hytham tells Eivor that Gorm, the son of Kjotve, who killed Eivor's father, is in Vinland, now known as America, and took his father's place as a member of the Order of the Ancients. So Eivor travels 3 weeks by boat to get there. She finds a village and, despite not being able to speak their tongue, uses their help to locate Gorm after finding out that he was digging for something, using what the villagers refer to as a talking crystal. Eivor finds Gorm and kills him, taking him to Niflheim. From him, Eivor retrieves the talking crystal, which nowadays is referred to as a Apple of Eden. Before leaving, Eivor returns to the village, as they all sit around a campfire, telling stories and listening intently despite not understanding the language of one another. And she presents the villagers with the Apple of Eden so that they can keep it safe. When she ventures back home, she tells Randvi that Gorm is dead before going to Jorvik to find and eliminate 3 more targets from the Order of the Ancients. There she finds her old friends Lutvinna and Hjör. Together they find and kill 2 of them, but as one was killed, they gave a clue that among the 4 was one of them. Together Eivor and Lutvinna figured out it was referring to the 4 members of the King's Council, one of which was Hjör. Without revealing to Hjör, they tried to figure out who was the 3rd Order of the Ancients member in Jorvik. However, by the time they did, it was already too late. Audin, the final culprit, poisoned many people's wine at an event. Luckily, the king and the rest of the council didn't drink, so Eivor is able to kill Audin. Then King Rixigir of Jorvik thanks Eivor for everything she did before she set sail back home. Then she plans her journey to Jorvikshire. There awaits Halfdan Ragnarsson, conqueror of the north and brother of Ubba and Ivar. He tells Eivor that he suspects his best friend Faravid of being a traitor and trying to kill him with poison in the middle of a war against the Picts. So Eivor befriends Faravid and accidentally reveals Halfdan's suspicions to him. They, along with a group of Halfdan's men, attack a camp of Picts. After ravaging them all, the men take the enemy's valuables and give some of it to Halfdan. In that mix was some wine. In suspicion that it's poisonous, Eivor got them all to drink it, and he allowed it with no second thought, so she reported back to Halfdan. But something else he was doing was he was planning an attack against the Picts, against Halfdan's wishes. When Eivor tells him this, Halfdan tells her to go along with it. For this fight, Faravid is pretending that Halfdan is asking for more fighters from Rixigir to get more fighters, even though he's lying. However, when the time to fight approaches, Halfdan confronts his best friend, accusing him of treason. But before it could get any further, the battle ensues. However, in the battle, Rixigir, who answers to Halfdan, cowers and doesn't fight, fleeing at the first opportunity. So Rixigir gets chased down and punished by Eivor. After this, Halfdan decides not to appoint someone new and have himself be king of Jorvik. Then the celebrations begin. Halfdan takes a toast from a goblet given to him by Faravid, which causes him to cough blood. As he drops it, the goblet is revealed to be lead, which is poisonous, by an expert. For this act of betrayal, Halfdan slams his hammer on his friend, despite him denying it to the very end. Having made friends in Jorvikshire, Eivor goes back to her clan. Then she follows the clan's blacksmith, Gunnar, who's in search for a wife. They arrive in Gloucestershire, where Eivor meets the soon-to-be Mrs. Blacksmith. Gunnar introduces Eivor to the Ealdorman Sinon, who appears to be very nice. Eivor finds out that he's to make himself a sacrifice as part of tradition, so the next Ealdorman can take charge. However, after a drunken night with Eivor, the future Ealdorman, Theodwir, went missing. With Sinon accusing her, Eivor tracks him down, learning that it was in fact Sinon who had ordered him to be kidnapped. He's quite ill when she finds him, so she gives him to a local healer, Modron, before finding Sinon. But when she did, he revealed that he did it so that when he was gone, Modron, his daughter's mother, can be Ealdorman. After slitting his throat, Eivor finds Modron just as she was about to murder the unconscious Theodwir, and she puts an end to her scheme for power. Everyone watches the pyre as the new Ealdorman is crowned. Then Eivor and the couple return to Ravensthorpe. Immediately after, she sets off for Nottinghamshire, having been summoned by an old friend. She arrives being greeted by an old mentor, Yarl, as they are about to attack a picked site. Eivor and Hemming's son, Vili, compete over who will be the one to kill the captain. After the raid, Eivor comes out on top, which is when the Jarl expresses why he called for Eivor. He says that he has fallen ill and he's dying, and he wants his son to be the next Jarl, but he's not prepared to accept his father won't live forever, and he doesn't want the responsibility of being Jarl. Hemming Jarl wants Eivor to find out if his son should be Jarl, or Tryggve, Hemming's loyal advisor, should be Jarl instead. Later, Eivor and Vili go elsewhere to reminisce on their childhood. Eivor used this as an opportunity to give him a pep talk. While still reluctant to accept his father's fate, they get a call saying that Hemming Jarl hasn't got long. They rush to him, where he dies, surrounded by those he loves. Eivor summons the Raven clan for the Jarl's funeral pyre. Then Vili asks for Eivor's honest opinion, and she says that he'd be a fine Jarl, so he accepts it, with Tryggve gladly being by his side, as he was for his father. When she returns to the settlement, Hytham tells Eivor of a letter, saying to meet them at Winchester, suggesting they have info on Order of the Ancients targets. So she pops by for a visit, but it turns out the person who sent the letter is none other than King Alfred, the same man who gave Sigurd to the crazy Fulke. He says that he has been warned that 3 people of the Order of the Ancients are eager to see him dead. So to reduce that threat of the Order, Eivor tracks and eliminates them. Once the deeds were done, Eivor returns to Alfred, but when she does, his calm tone suddenly shifted. He urged her to give up her paganism, to live in peace as a Christian, or die. Eivor refuses and has to escape an attack to get back home to report the situation to Randvi. After resting a while, Eivor and Sigurd have a discussion. Sigurd says that he wishes to see his final glory, so he takes his sister to Norway. Sigurd confronts his father and blames him for not fighting back against Harald, despite him saying he did it to stop unnecessary bloodshed in a war he was sure they'd lose. Sigurd didn't accept it and they left. Before they continued their voyage, Eivor told her brother that she too was having these peculiar visions. Sigurd led Eivor up a mountain of snow to a highly unusual place. Inside, they found a mechanism. Once entered, they entered Valhalla. In Valhalla, Sigurd has his arm back, and you can fight without dying, basically doing whatever you want to your heart's content. However, Eivor saw her father there, knowing that her father wouldn't be in Valhalla due to his death being considered dishonorable by Vikings. She realized that this place wasn't real. She was able to convince her brother, Sigurd, and they leave the Promised Land together. However, when Eivor gets out of the mechanism, Basim had attacked Sigurd, and then Eivor. He starts accusing Eivor of having killed his son, while trying to kill her. As the fight was getting out of hand, Eivor connected Basim to the mechanism, keeping him trapped for eternity. It turns out the three are reincarnations of past lives, Eivor being Odin, Basim being Loki, and Sigurd being Tyr, who also lost an arm. Basim had remembered the most of his previous life, therefore accused Eivor of killing his son. Loki believes that Odin treated his son unfairly, imprisoning him for false charges, and hated him for it. Despite looking like Norse gods, all of these characters are in fact Isu. They take the appearance of Norse gods in Eivor and Ko's heads because of their beliefs. Anyway, before they head home, Sigurd says to Eivor that the Raven clan is now hers to lead, and the siblings embrace. Suddenly, Layla awakens from the Animus. Sean and Rebecca tells Layla about Desmond saving the world in 2012 and Abstergo taking credit. However, in doing so, he created a magnetic field that's getting stronger with radiation. The site of this magnetic field is the temple Eivor and Sigurd found. So Layla goes there with the Staff of Hermes for her protection, so that it can be slowed down to prevent another catastrophe like in 2012. However, when inside, she loses contact with Sean and Rebecca. Layla enters the mechanism to see a simulation, but drops the staff in the process. When inside, Layla meets Basim, who uses this as an opportunity to finally exit the simulation. Layla comes across someone called the Reader, who happens to be Desmond Miles. Since the last catastrophe, Desmond was looking at ways they can prevent one ever happening again. After Layla realizes she dropped the staff, Layla joins Desmond, having accepted her fate. Back on the outside, we see Basim take the Staff of Hermes and speak to his lover Alethea. Basim goes to Rebecca and Sean and asks to meet their mentor, William Miles. They go to find him. Meanwhile, Basim enters the Animus to learn from Eivor, by which time she and Sigurd had arrived back in Ravensthorpe. Sigurd tells Eivor that he and Randvi ended their marriage, since they got married for peace between their clans and not for love, despite their deep affections for one another. Then Eivor brings a whole host of her allies to fight against King Alfred, to put an end to those Saxon rulers, to give the kingship to Guthrum. They have a peaceful conversation where he reveals that he killed Uber Ragnar's son. They all retreat to gather their thoughts. Eager to get revenge for their fallen comrade, they attack Alfred's keep in Wessex. However, it turns out he had fled, leaving Goodwin, his right-hand man, who Eivor kills before rejoining the battle. However, in the midst of battle, we see Soma, Hunwald and Hjör die heroically as they fought bravely. After their victory, Eivor sets alight their funeral pyre, despite seemingly no longer believing in Valhalla after her experiences with Sigurd. After eliminating all of the Order of the Ancients from England, we get another mysterious letter asking to meet. It was Alfred the not so great anymore. It turns out that he was part of the Order of the Ancients, but he was sending these letters to Eivor hinting at the identities of Order of the Ancients because he thought that they were too crazy. He wanted to start anew, a Christian group which became known as the Templars. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you made it this far, comment your thoughts on the story, and make sure you subscribe for Cyberpunk Next. See ya.